My hand hurts from one of the things that might make a ass.
Hang on just a second, Sandy. Let's go to the public comment section first.
I don't like it when you smile. Hey, been there.
Good, how about you?
Vertical.
Hey, that's a plus.
I'm not looking at the roots of the grass
Yeah,
yet.
that's right.
Oh, well.
Okay, is there anyone here on this that has signed in that isn't on the agenda, that wants to speak? Okay. So we have no exonerations and consolidations,
No.
state qualifications, settlements.
And this is, that's,
You better smile.
I take good notes.
Kendra, do you want to?
Glasses in the room.
I know, I hate to do it. Yeah, it's admitting age.
Geneva, could you come here a second, please? So West Virginia and.
See the one that's been down. You switched my seat back out, didn't you? I traded this thing to you last time.
Figure.
This one, you sit in the chair and the knees on, so it's good to pull.
Raise it. Can you raise it up?
It's fine.
Okay. Motion to approve the estate qualifications and settlements.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Board appointments, we have Mr. Rick Seipel to the Unsafe Buildings and Land Enforcement Agency. Here,
Move to appoint Rick Seipel to the Unsafe Buildings and Land Enforcement Agency.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Still looking for someone from Center District for the ambulance board.
Okay. How about the county commission minutes? amendments, corrections, or deletions to the minutes? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to approve the minutes as written.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Budget revisions, I know Angel's not here today, but she has, you have them?
I do, but just be patient with me because here's some.
Receipt of county board minutes. What's that? Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were good.
Yeah,
I apologize.
that's okay. Okay, well, the sheriff's settlements are in the two for June.
Yeah, the two sheriff settlements for December 30th, when Mickey Metz left office, and then June 30th.
Are finished. I don't think Larry's going to come over and review those. But, there was an increase of $193,572. And.
To the unassigned fund
To the
balance.
unassigned fund balance. In July, has budgeted.
Yeah, I just asked you.
When we were doing our budget in March. In July, she had to give additional $83,507 because she had to make the adjustments by July 30th. So, she made an increase of $13,653 to the coal severance fund. For the $105 for the sheriff's and line item, and then that left $13,547 for commission. And then on down, she actually put in $30,000 for legal advertisement, and then $65,000 for the audit cost, and then $630 for the phones, tap fuel from the peanut oil that we were charged, the Gary bills for the taxes for that phone service. And then she put $20,000 into the contributions, and then, of course, it was $13,547 for the courthouse, it's like for the,
Okay, $13,587 had to be taken from the coal severance fund and reimbursing the general county fund as a result of it coming out the wrong fund as assigned by, your orders to begin this fiscal year. We're using the coal severance fund for courthouse money, anything dealing with the courthouse. And then when those budget lines for 4 months were assigned, it was coming out the old way we'd done it. And we picked up on it, so we corrected that, reimbursed coal severance fund, which it should have come out of, put the money back in general county or elsewhere.
and then she put $205 in the county clerks for the M&R, which is maintenance and repair equipment line item. And then $105 into the sheriff's fund for that coal severance that was taken out for the, I think it was a maintenance for the copy stuff, the CDPS, the copy machine. And then, she put, $2,560 back into the prosecutor's telephone line item, which that should cover him for the rest of the budget year. And then she put $60,000 into the contingency fund for the unassigned balance money that was there, that was left over out of the $190,000 that was left as the increase. And then the $15,000 is what goes into the rec center money, which they were actually budgeted for 35, and they have 20, so that was $15,000 that we have to actually put back into their budget. Does that make sense to you guys? No, but because after a while.
And after the 15, was there still the 60 unsigned, or
No.
takes 15
The
off the 60?
60,000 is what's left.
everything.
60,000 is what was put in contingency.
Right.
As everything.
Well, that's what I wanna make sure, because it sounded like you said that that 15 from the rec center, then,
Yeah, this is the remainder of the unassigned of 60,000.
It was in the order he's mentioning, let's make sure that that's
Yeah, she has, the remainder is the 60,000.
after that rec center, which was the last item.
Because
on there.
that's because that's what we have to pay for, because they have like,
But it's your understanding that this
That this
15,000
is
is
already
already
come out.
out, and this
Yes.
is the bottom line?
Yes, that's my understanding. I think that's all she had. Yeah, see, here's the 15,000, and that's still left, the 60,000. So 15's already taken out of the, and so that we actually have 60,000 left that was going back into the contingency again assigned back.
What would be wrong with tabling and approving this revision until the next meeting when she's here?
Nothing.
right.
I mean, because I drove her.
Chair would entertain a motion that we table these budget revisions until the next meeting when our bookkeeper can be present.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Geneva Jenkins.
Right here in front of them. Do you want me to introduce you, or you want to just go ahead and introduce yourself? Okay.
My name is Geneva Jenkins, and I'm here because I was chosen over the summer to go to a camp for West Virginia ambassadors, and now I represent the state, but I have to give 2 presentations in order to do that, so this is one of them. Whenever I was there, I did I was there. I did many things. One of them was I attended the 150th birthday West Virginia celebration, and the light show was really amazing, and there was a bunch of fireworks, and I got to see the governor give a speech. And then we took a walk through the Kanawha State Forest, and we had a conservation worker there that told us a lot about it. And then I went inside of the cultural center and got to do a lot there. We did interpretive dancing and a lot of other stuff. And then I went to the play center and toured it, and that's a picture of the light show. Then we got to go inside of the West Virginia Supreme Court courtroom, which is extremely beautiful. And then I got to see the Symphony play in the Play Center Theater. And then we watched a movie outside of the Cultural Center. It was like broadcasted on the side of it, and we got to stay out there really late and watch it. And then we toured through Springville Cemetery, where a lot of government, I guess, people were buried. And then there is the view of the Capitol from the UC campus where we stayed. And we had a mock legislature, which we had to make up our own laws and see if they passed or not, and give them to the jury and see if they passed. And that was a lot of fun. It was different to see how that went and worked. And we walked through a natural garden that was all planted. And then, I think that's about it. But it was really fun. I enjoyed it. And I've made a lot of new friends. And thank you for allowing me to be out there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jenny.
Now, do you take this back with you? And where would you like the president to sign?
Jenny, who's sponsored here?
Gilmer High School.
Gilmer County High School?
Mr. McLean and Mr. Ferris.
Yeah. So now she represents the state as an ambassador until she passes away. She's now an ambassador for West Virginia.
We're live.
Very good.
Thank you again, Geneva.
Now you have to go back to school, huh?
Yeah.
Well, you could sit and listen to the rest of the meeting.
Well,
Mom says no.
yeah.
EMS roof replacement. Cindy?
Yes, one second. So we need to go back to the drawing board on submitting the bids. We ascertained that no law had been broken in the whole bid process in terms of what West Virginia State Code says about how that process should work. However, you did decide that because there were inconsistencies or lack of clear understanding, that we would just go back and resubmit, have that resubmitted. So I'm waiting for your direction on that. And exactly how you want to proceed. The West Virginia Code says it requires any capital project, any construction project that's less than $25,000 does not have to be submitted by sealed bid. We can go out on the open market and just obtain that. However, it was your desire that we would actually do that through a sealed bid process. And the rest of that code says that the commission needs to establish their own bid process after we've met those two criteria for construction and commodities. And so I put that on the agenda so we can discuss that. I began working up a draft for you for a bid process. I don't have that draft completed. So I'll submit that draft to you for your review. Well, I don't know if you want it at the next commission meeting, if you'd like to have it before the next commission meeting, so you can begin reviewing it and perhaps we can adopt it.
But we are still awaiting a contract from the state.
We're awaiting a contract from the state. I have
So
an email from Senator Sam Can that it has been approved, the grant has been approved by the governor's office. And now a direction has been given to the development office to send us an application. We have not received that application, but once we receive it, then we'll submit that back, and it's a matter then of the governor signing it and awarding the money. We have been given the verbal to go ahead and work through the project. As long as it's done within certain parameters of time, which will conclude by June 2014, then we would be okay to go ahead and spend that money, even though we don't have the governor's letter yet. But I think you've erred on the side of caution, and so we don't want to do that until we get the money. But it has been approved by the governor, so it's a matter of just waiting now.
I think we'd be fine if you just had that ready for us by the next meeting.
So have a draft of the bid process by the
Yeah.
next meeting.
Anybody have any problem with that?
You know, we've discussed, and I think Larry's talked to her several times too,
the only
about,
place I have reservations, I'd like to see those contracts signed.
And we may
I
have.
don't have any problem with
by
that
the end of-
whatsoever.
I'd just like to see not that I question the word of Senator Sam Can.
I'm talking about our bid process.
right,
Oh, our bid process, yes. I thought you meant to go ahead and.
No, I'm talking about our bid
Our,
process.
okay.
Thank you, Cindy. How about the courthouse boiler?
The boiler is in, it is operating. We have a bill here from General Appliance who completed the work. It's not the full bill, it's not the final bill. It is the bill for the boiler work itself in the amount of $5,602.45. The remainder to be billed has to do with the grate that was created out there on the old coal chute to allow for airflow, and the louver panel that's going to go up over the door that will open when the boiler calls for air and close when it doesn't. Those two items we have yet to be billed for. In fact, we don't have the price yet. The louver is on order. But $5,602 plus whatever's going to come in is a lot cheaper than the other quote of over $14,000.
Right. and those last two items we're holding off as well for grant money, correct? To submit,
Correct.
to be reimbursed, yeah.
Yes. So my goal is to get those paid for through the courthouse facilities improvement grant, if we're approved for that. So we need this bill approved. We'll have to revise the budget line to come out of maintenance, repairs, equipment. We budgeted $5,000, so we're gonna have to do a revision for the remainder of that. And if you want to wait for that revision next meeting, or if you want to approve this bill and bring revision next time,
That's probably what we'll do.
approve the
If you don't
bill.
wanna pay, we might have another problem, saying, keep getting paid and.
That's what I said, we'll probably approve, I think we should go ahead and approve the bill and just do the revision at the next meeting.
Do you want to do that with the bills?
Yeah.
It seemed like it took forever, but it really, after he
Goes
does the
quick,
job,
yeah, once
it's
he got
pretty
his
quick.
parts, yeah, just a couple days.
So,
Yeah, I've been very pleased with his work ethic and his communication.
Well, with putting the old thermometer back down here, thermostat, what's upstairs? Have they decided they're okay or still complaining? It's getting there.
Yesterday,
I don't think that changing that thermostat is going to change the heat upstairs. What we can look at, I've asked for this general appliance, Stephen Reynolds, to give us an idea of pricing. What he said we can look to do as a project down the road would be actually put thermostats, there's a type of thermostat you can put on these boilers. And then every office can temper their own heat.
Good idea.
Adoption of the 2012 International Building Codes.
That was an unfinished business item, it was on last month as a new item, and the commission had discussed after that at an unsafe buildings committee that they did not feel comfortable adopting it until they got more information about what that would mean to the county as a whole. And at that unsafe buildings meeting, I think the conclusion came down that it was not something we wanted to adopt, but we needed to bring it back on to finish that item.
Right. Okay, so we can take that off the agenda. Courthouse handicap restroom.
As you know from the ADA assessment, that there were some items we needed to address from an ADA perspective. And this handicap restroom right down the hall here was one of the first items we wanted to address, some simple, relatively inexpensive things we could do there. So I wanted to see if you want me to proceed with that project, how you want to do that. Do you want just the scope of that project? We can go from simple little minor things to.
Those were minor, you know, that wasn't much of a project. My personal thoughts are to go ahead and take care of it.
You know, exactly what are you referring
Right,
to in
because
that?
one thing that, from my understanding, that needs to come down immediately is the wall. The petition wall of the stalls. And Troy can do that. He should be able to do that. And then after that, they talked about, the sink where you can do the wheelchair and stuff.
Well, I think that I think they were pretty good to us about the timeline they gave us, and my personal thoughts are we have to try our best to adhere to that.
Right, and Larry, what he had talked about was doing the remodel of the bathroom.
Okay.
But definitely, we should get Troy to remove that
some
stall
of those things are
immediately.
inexpensive, we just need to, if you want to put a price on it, it costs over $500, let's review it.
Right.
Anything under $500, Troy can do.
Did.
Minor things to make it better. I think we should let him move forward.
Hear a motion going, so.
So moved.
And then taking down, then I need directions to take down the wall, anything we do under $500.
He could take that wall down and then he could buy a sink that's just a standalone sink, no cabinet underneath it. He can store his paper towels and those kind of things where he got to move the bottom.
So we have a motion on the floor allowing Troy to make the repairs up to $500. Motion made by Larry, seconded by Darrell. All in favor?
That's reversed. I made the motion, Larry second.
Okay, it's reversed. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. It's 9:30. We have Mr. and Mrs. Cottrell here. We'll turn the floor over to you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for letting me be here. My name is Marlena Cottrell. I'm Willard Cottrell's oldest daughter. Thankfully to this video, I've been able to watch from New York what's going on from my father's estate. My father died under suspicious circumstances, October 10, 2010. Since then, all I've been trying to do is get an answer and get this stuff wrapped up. Now, the reason I'm here right now is because the last time I heard on this video that something about there's 3 fiduciary commissioners, something about this has been handed back to some kind of civil court, and I'm here to ask who, what, and where, because I can't find anybody that can give me answers on any of this. All day yesterday, I'm running around town. Nobody seems to have any answers on my dad's estate. So that's where I want to start off is, who is this, where is the fiduciary commissioner now? What's the situation with this? And what's the circuit court that you said handed it back to in the last video about this?
The fiduciary commissioner is Bernie Mountain. He
Okay.
is not resigned.
Well, what happened to Linda Huff being appointed then?
She was
She was
not
never
ever
But she was,
appointed.
but she would have had to, because Bernie Mauser said he didn't want to talk about it. Nobody could get a hold of him. I tried 4 times myself. He won't answer any calls.
She was never appointed as fiduciary commissioner.
Right, but I thought Bernie said he didn't want to handle it.
He has not informed us that he is not one.
But he hasn't informed you. Has anybody talked to him?
We tried.
I tried too. That's what I mean. He's not answering
We
the
have
phone at all.
tried- We've tried several times to contact him, and I know that, excuse me, that, the executor has tried to contact him. He has not returned any of their calls, he has not returned any of our calls.
So what do we do?
So, and right now, the only thing that we can suggest is to take it back to court and have him removed.
Which court would that, circuit court?
It'd be to the circuit court.
So this commission has nothing to do with overseeing any of that kind of thing?
We
You
cannot.
can appoint them, but you
We
can't
can
take them
appoint
off?
them.
Okay. Okay, and the other problem that I'm having, because now, you have to understand, I have been circumvented from day one. This whole estate, this whole thing, I've not received 1 paper of anything about any land, anything from day one. I have the proof to show it that I was circumvented by my family. My father's will says, if one circumvents another, they get nothing. This is open and shut. My situation right now is that there is a man that has been taking occupancy of my father's property for 2 months now. I've talked to him, I've talked to the state police. I've come to you to say, does he have any paper filed? This man has no deed, no paper filed, and he says he doesn't have to go because apparently a couple of siblings have gone rogue and tried to do a backdoor sale. Now, I say that because we did contact the executor last week about this sale, and why are 2 siblings off making some kind of sale that nobody, I've got no paper, not a dollar, not a deed, nothing. So last week, we contacted Mr. Michael Murphy, the fiduciary commissioner, who said he doesn't have any idea about what the sale is, and when we asked him where the money was, he said he didn't know. So I'm standing here more than 3 years after my father's death, trying to get something to happen in this county to look in to find out what's going on. First of all, this murder investigation has been over 3 years. I asked last week, I called Mr. Huff to make an appointment to meet with me. I'm the one that asked for the investigation when I saw the situation that was going on. The day after, I also asked for an autopsy. That was denied. Mr. Huff will not meet with me. Everybody that I've talked to, the police, everybody, sheriffs, everybody says, you have to go to Mr. Huff, you have to go to Mr. Huff. And that's what I did yesterday. I was sitting across the hall from him. He wouldn't walk across the hall to talk to me. To this day, as I stand here right now, Willard Cottrell's daughter, it's supposed to be a 3-year murder investigation. And as of this day, Mr. Huff, Mr. Metz, nor Mr. Gerwig until yesterday have ever introduced themselves to me, let alone ever given me one update on anything that has happened in 3 years. Now we're going into 4 years, and this is a bit much. So I'm just asking for this commission's help directing me. As far as I understand, you guys are the highest here. All I want is justice for my dad. I want this to be wrapped up so he can rest in peace, so I can rest in peace. That's all I want. I want people to follow the directions. If an executor is bonded for $338,000, the executor ought to be here taking care of stuff. The will specifically said he was supposed to take care of the property for the heirs. He's done nothing in 3 years. I was just up there today. It's falling apart. And meanwhile, we have people living on it that don't have any official paperwork, except they say they have a bill of sale from someone. So I just filed papers yesterday to ask him to appear in a hearing next week to show me some papers. I want a copy of the paper, and then I'll go the next step. But somebody has to make these people liable. You know, and I keep calling the state police, and they keep saying, oh, it's a civil matter. What is the civil matter? This is a fraudulent sale. I don't know anything. The executor doesn't know anything, and this guy's just taking control of my dad's property because I'm in New York and because he can. I mean, I would look for your advice.
Well, when did we have Jerry up here?
He's in the building this morning because I was told he's up here.
He should be
He
here.
will not talk to me. He refused. I called last night to make an appointment to talk to him about the murder investigation because he's the one that's been doing it. I'm the one that asked for it the day after my dad died. I asked for an autopsy. It was refused. I've not heard a single word from anybody regarding it for 3 years. And that's why last week I said, all right, I'll make an appointment with Mr. Jerry Huff because they all say that he's the one that's handling it. He's the one that's refusing to answer the FOIA requests. 3 of them have been submitted now. Twice by reporters, once by myself, along with a nice letter just saying, I'm my dad's daughter. I'm being circumvented. Can you please tell me what's going on? He will not meet with me without Trooper Wheeler there, Sheriff Wheeler. Because now what I'm hearing from Mr. Gerwig and from Mr. Huff, Sheriff Wheeler is the only one investigating this supposed murder. 3 years. I haven't got a single, he hasn't talked to me. I left West Virginia after 2 weeks after my dad died. The man never talked to me, would not talk to me. So who's investigating my father's murder for 3 years? And why aren't they updating me? Because I asked for it. And I still am asking for it. I have tons of evidence that the police should have. I shouldn't be carrying it around. And like I'm saying, it's unfortunate some of the stuff haven't come out on the media, but sometimes it has to come out on the media so people can know. And a lot of people, what I get, especially in New York, is saying, well, if this happened and there was a possible murder, why isn't somebody arrested? And that's what I keep saying. Why does Mr. Huff say it's ongoing and nobody will tell me anything? I'm just begging you, help me. I don't know what to do next. All I'm looking for is justice. As I stand here today, I got nothing to tell but the truth. I don't have a dollar in this. I'm retired. I live in New York. All I want is that when a man makes his will, whatever that man asks for should happen. Period. I don't want nothing else except justice for Willard Contra. And that's why I'm here just asking for your help.
Let me see what I can figure out for you.
And even today, when I just went down to the office, this is the first day that I saw the assessment that ever even said what all my dad had. Nobody ever offered me anything. Not to sell it, not to buy it. I never saw what he had until I just got this paper. I just got the bank amounts that they took the money out of. First I got. Nobody's told me a thing. And my father's will says if one circumvents another, they get nothing.
Right.
How do I proceed with that?
See that property, the big farmhouse and the trailer on there was rented, but her mom and sister Benita
Don't get too deep into it.
threw them out in the dead of winter. And they called them up and asked them if they want to buy it.
I don't know who's doing all these shenanigans. I don't know. All I know is
You don't
enough is
know
enough.
even who the investigating party is, do you?
They all now, finally, 3 years, just this past 2 weeks, I've got them to name Trooper or Sheriff Wheeler. And they
No,
said
she
because
knows.
he's
Mr.
deputy-
Wheeler's not a sheriff.
Well,
He's a
deputy.
deputy.
He's the only person that I ever saw in 2 weeks, by the time I left West Virginia. There were at least 4 witnesses that watched what happened to my father. After 2 weeks, I left West Virginia, chasing Mr. Wheeler down. I had to force him to take 2 statements, one by Ruth Mitchell and one by another friend of ours. He didn't want to do it, but he did. By the time I tracked him down after 2 weeks, because I had to go back to work, and I said, Mr. Wheeler, where are we with this investigation? Can you tell me what's going on? Have you talked to this person that was there, this person that was there? And his answer was to me after 2 weeks, I haven't had enough time. This is a possible murder investigation. You got people in from New York. You've got morphine called in by a doctor and picked up by 2 people from out of state that got no reason to. There was no reason for my dad to be given morphine, none. There's witnesses there. I talked to him the day before. I have his discharge papers from the nursing home that say, yeah, he had pneumonia, he's getting better, activities as tolerated, and 6 days later the man was dead. 6 hours after morphine was called in and picked up. That doesn't sound right to me.
Was hospice involved?
No.
Nope.
That was attempted cover. What they did is they came in that night. Ruth Mitchell was there. Carol Peterson was there, which was my friend of my uncle's. Frida Kotter was there because she helped my sister hold my dad. And some lady that was, Frida's mother was sick down there in the nursing home for a long time. So I know Frida knows a lot of people. But my sister at about noon, called down to the pharmacy, or called down to Hillary Miller and said something, from what I understand, that Hillary Miller, Benita told her, oh, he's really sick, I'm a nurse, my dad is dying, I need the morphine, oh, please let me just put him out of his misery. He wasn't in any misery according to people that saw him that morning. And I talked to him the day before, there was no hospice there. They tried to use her to bring her in, but according to the eyewitnesses, she never did a thing and said she wasn't authorized. I believe she was brought in as a friend, and they were gonna use that excuse. Now, also, keep in mind, when this was going on, 3 days later, I was supposed to have been out of the country. I never would have known about any of this, except that like 4 hours after I found out that my dad had died under the circumstances, because there was no reason for him to be dead, I drove down to West Virginia, and I got there, and I saw the entire house looted. Everything my dad had was gone, with the help and assistance of the executor, Mike Murphy. I stood there with my own eyes. The man is bonded to be the executor, $338. As an executor, you don't stand there and help criminals load up their cars full of guns and everything else they can get their hands on before the man was ever buried. I couldn't even be at the funeral, but I did go to the cemetery. While I was up there on the cemetery, apparently Melvin Cottrell, and there's a witness down there, and Melvin Cottrell drove my father's truck off my father's land while I'm crying at the cemetery. That's how fast they were looting everything. Everything was gone before he was buried. That's what the problem I have with Mr. Murphy is, because he was down there helping him. And I watched it, and I've been trying to say that from the beginning, and nobody will do a thing. Again, I say, I'm asking for your help, because I know this stuff just isn't right. And my dad didn't deserve it. My dad worked hard. He was illiterate. He built himself up from living off, he lived at a riverbank. Built himself up a riverbank. Couldn't read or write to build that mountain, and he did every day of his life that he was able to get out there, as he states in his will, for a legacy for his children, to be divided. That's why he put in there, if one circumvents another, they get nothing. So that's what I'm asking. How do I stop this rape and pillage of my father's property? It's been 3 years now. What if the guy goes up there and starts pulling the timber down? Who's going to do anything? And I don't know what else to do. Gone to the law, and they decide, well, maybe he'll get a will eventually. I said, well, when he gets the will, then maybe when he gets the deed, he can move in.
And that was Michael Murphy appointed as executive.
You all appointed him at the, I think it was February meeting, I think it was in February. He was appointed because Brenda, it was actually referred to Brenda Lawson. And
Right.
she resigned.
She resigned. Starting back at the beginning, because it's hard to get anybody to do anything. You're right, it's hard to, because they're Brenda Lawson, she was the first
And
asked.
she said that there was discrepancies and she no longer wanted to handle it.
Okay.
So that's why Bernie Mauser was appointed, and, I mean, it just goes from that point, because we don't know, we've tried to contact him and he has done nothing, and, I mean, and I know that Michael Murphy has tried to contact him.
And
Because
I
he
have tried to contact him myself.
He has contacted us and talked to us, and, you know, there's not much that we can do except for just send it to court.
Well, it's getting to a crucial time by now. It's been over 3 years.
Yeah.
And I have to think about this every day. Just trying to protect my dad's land. That's all I want. Like I say, I'm retired. I have my own home. I don't have a penny in this. But I know the day I die, if I leave a will and I say what I want to happen on that will that I worked my whole life for, I hope somebody is going to uphold that will. And that's what I'm trying to do for my dad. And that's all I'm trying to do. Just trying to save it right now, because it's been so long, and these people are just like going crazy.
Right.
And so that, I've even called the law, and I said, what are you gonna do? This man thinks he's owned it. He's threatened me upside one side and down the other, screamed at me, and I was trying to help him at first. I didn't know he was there, till I got told that four-wheelers were down on my dad's property, and I said, what do you mean? And then the state police called and said, well, he's buying it. I said, what do you mean he's buying it? I don't have the paper.
He's buying it, like
He
land
told
contracts
me-
supposedly, or?
He said, and Sergeant Yost said, he had seen a bill of sale written out by my brothers. Now, even if it was just my brothers, that's only 2. Even if they wanted to play around and try to use the will, it says 3 against 1. So, and besides the fact, it's all illegal to sell it because it can't be sold, because if they go around me, it's all mine anyway. So, from what I can understand, and I've been asking for a copy of the bill of sale, this guy says, Mr. Yost, or no, Mr. What's his name?
Neil.
Mr. Neal says he has a bill of sale, he's in there, that's it. My brothers went down there and made some kind of deal with him, signed some kind of paper, he's taken over the whole mountain.
But
He said to me, Mr. Neal said to me, because I said, Mr. Neal, you need to just not get into this right now, it's all going on, the estate hasn't been settled, there's a lot of mess, I'm trying to help you, save your money, just wait. And he said to me, well, can you give me the same kind of deal they're giving me? I said, well, what kind of deal are they giving you, sir? He says, 47 acres for $40,000 with pristine woods, a pond, all free natural gas. I said, sir, I can't give you that kind of deal because it's not for sale, first of all. I said, and doesn't that sound just a little bit too good to be true to you? And then he apparently talked to the police or whatever. And then he called me back, Mr. Neal did, and he was screaming at me. I mean, screaming. I kept saying, Mr. Neal, please lower your voice. Mr. Neal, you know, you called me. Mr. Neal, please don't be so angry, but threatening us and all this kind of stuff. So that it's very obvious now he's dug his heels in. I expect he'll be here this weekend to go deer hunting, right there on the property. It's my property. I don't have anything that says it isn't. So that's,
My statement is he's gonna have, if this was sold, it would have to be recorded.
exactly.
And Gary Wolf, have you talked to him to see
We
the
talked to
tax?
everybody.
Because
The
from my
taxes are
understanding,
paid.
it is still where we're talking.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I've just asked the police to ask this man, cease and desist until we get
Right.
this figured out.
Right.
He will not do it. The more that we said that, he called them up, and then he
He
said,
won't do it or the police won't do
no,
it?
the police just keep telling me it's a civil matter. I said, this is not a civil matter, this is a criminal deal. And they're like, well, they showed me a piece of paper. I said, well, look, I can run off to the kitchen and write me a piece of paper too. That doesn't mean it's legal. I'm telling you, I'm showing you the will, I'm showing you the deed. My name is on these posted signs around here. Mr. Neal has no right now to be on that property legally that I can see. And that's why I just filed papers yesterday for him to show the paperwork. And if it's illegal, come and show it to me. All I want is a copy. I asked Sergeant Yost, all I want is a copy. Can you guys just give me a copy of what Mr. Neal has? We're not doing it. So that's why I'm here, is trying to figure this out. I've gone through all the channels, everywhere I can, just. I love my dad. He's my best friend. I'm here for him. I can't take another fourth either.
Right. Understand.
Sorry, I think I'm having a little pop this year.
Well, Jane, where I'm from, is for the last 7-8 months, we
Thank you
keep
so
hearing
much.
this is a civil matter.
And I keep
Everybody
doing
that's
that.
involved, I've heard the prosecuting attorney say it, I've heard the sheriff say it, I've heard many people say this is a civil matter and that's where it needs to be set.
Can I just give you some background on that? What that
Yes.
has been is from day one, I have a tape from the time I buried my dad, I went home, I turned on my answering machine, and there was my brother. I had the tape right here in my bag. I kept it on the answering machine because he told me right on that tape that my 3 siblings wanted to buy that land, they were gonna sell it, and if I didn't like it, I could be kicked to the curb. And that's exactly what they did. My entire family, because I wouldn't go along with this sale 3 years ago, disowned me completely. Tells everybody as much garbage as they can. Well, you can see me today, I'm pretty put together, you know what I mean? But that's why I have not gotten one single paper on anything, nothing.
I think that, for that reason right there is why a lot of people think this is a civil matter, because if you go back to the will, and you're exactly right, because we read the will, that one circumvented, they were out.
Right. And so what I'm saying is since day one, they started,
Yeah.
You remember.
they only have been going to try to move off the property so they could sell it for more. My dad said in his will, he wanted a lifetime rights, he told me 1,000 times, she lived right here, dad was a loving man. They wanted to move her to a barn, they want to put her like in a doghouse down there, I mean, that's what the only court case has been, is that they have now, they took it, they were gonna ask for jury trial. A few days before that, their lawyer, Criswell and them, said, we want summary judgment. So then I see this paper that says if I'm not here to answer this quiet title and this and that, I'm gonna lose all my rights to my inheritance in 2 weeks. So I ran down here in 2011, tried to hire Mr. John Oshaway, which didn't go so well. And, yeah, but so, the only matters that have been going on, and like I said, they took this all the way to Supreme Court, because how desperate they are to move this poor woman off the land that my dad wanted her to live in, just so they can sell it for more of the whole property, because nobody wants to buy it with somebody living on it, and you don't blame them. But they shouldn't be buying it, it's not for sale. That's been the only issue in court, is her on the land. That's the only thing that is in that whole suit, that's it. The only other thing that's been going on is this now over 3-year investigation into my father's death, which I have the briefcase of evidence that could probably put 5 people in jail, I'm telling you right now, truthfully. I don't know why the police don't have it. I don't know why they have, nobody's contacted me in 3 years. I don't know why nobody's talking to me about it, but enough is enough. Willard Cottrell needs justice.
Okay.
And I'm asking you. It is even a possibility that a special prosecutor can come in to handle this, because it doesn't appear that Mr. Horn wants to.
What I found for you is the appeal process to take this on to circuit court. You have this already?
I'm not sure about this.
It says according to this section, an appeal must be filed within 4 months of the final order. The party must file a request for the appeal with the clerk of the county commission, who in turn collects the county court filing fee, which I think she said was $155. County clerk must forward the filing fee and the final order and the request of the appeal to the circuit clerk. The party appealing pursuant to West Virginia Code 58-3-1A is entitled to such an appeal as the right of trial. No bond may be collected from the party. Here's the whole process.
Okay, so right now, nothing is in any kind of civil court. There's nothing at all going on right now, right?
No, ma'am.
Correct.
Not that I know of.
Okay, and did you find out anything from Mr. Huff about, would he be willing to speak to me about this murder investigation, or, I mean?
I did not get a hold of Mr. Huff.
Okay, well, I knew he was gonna be in the building today, but
Yeah.
like I say, that's why I'm here in front of you guys. I've gone up the whole chain of command as politely and gently as I can. I don't know what else to do when the prosecutor will not even introduce himself and say, hello, Ms. Cottrell, I'm working on this, we're gonna get to this.
Where's your contact information, Marty?
I can give it to you, I don't have a card.
Right around.
It's kind of hard from New York, so I'm really appreciative of the videos. It's on.
Is that process, is that the same process that they talked before there was a civil matter?
Yes, sir.
So, but that's just details how to go about it.
Right. I will try my best to contact Mr. Huff this afternoon.
I can email or I'll be available at this afternoon.
Okay.
What's your last four numbers, Ruth?
5084.
5084. Because, and I'm concerned because very likely Mr. Neal's probably gonna come in and try to claim his property this weekend, and I have every much as right to go on my dad's hill as he does, and that's what the police said, and I'm worried. Already the state trooper, when I called him and asked him, he said, well, Miss Cottrell, I'd advise you not to come down, because I asked him about this situation. And then I called again, and I said, now if I go up on this hill today, up on my dad's hill, up to look at his grave, I said, what is gonna prevent Mr. Neal from coming down there and bringing out a gun and saying, well, this is my property? And the state police told me, he says, well, he could do that. Not legally. I've got nothing that says he's got any right to that land, and it doesn't sound like he does have any right. Nothing's been filed.
We haven't got a deed put on record in the
Right.
clerk's office.
Right.
Every
2 months
time-
is, what's the usual amount of time that it would take to process papers like that? Isn't 2 months getting to be a little bit lengthy?
I really don't know, and honestly, to even, and I don't know if he even has a deed.
Oh, that's what I
you
mean,
know,
should a man be
I
on the
can't-
property before then?
I can't answer that question, that's the question an attorney's gonna have to answer. I mean, I can't answer a question, you know, I don't have any legal.
No, Mr.
You've
Huff-
spoke with your family members,
They disowned me. They completely have gone around me, and nobody has ever had one conversation with me about my dad's land, whether I was in it or not. They knew how I felt about my dad. They knew Dad never wanted his land sold. They knew I was not gonna go along with them because I don't need the money. I'm not in it for fast cash. What Dad wanted and what he crawled at that mountain to clear the land, and it's a beautiful, beautiful property. What he wanted is what matters, and that's why I'm here. Not for me, not for nothing else. The man should deserve what he wanted with his land, and that's why I'm here. Asking for any help you guys can give me, I appreciate it.
Well, that's about as much help as we can give you right now, and I will contact the prosecutor and try to get him to contact you, and if not, I will get some information and we will contact you.
I would appreciate it, because like I say, I have a lot of evidence and stuff that was never taken. Nobody, Mr. Wheeler
No.
did not want anything to do
And
with
Marley, I
it.
want you to know that we don't have anything in that.
I understand.
And I know that you're just telling and you're ready to vent, and I can imagine
Yeah.
the situation you're in, but we don't have anything in that. But I will contact the prosecutor today, and we will try to get what answers that we have anything to do with.
Right, because, yeah, 3 years is a long investigation, and I should suspect he'd have a pretty thick file folder on it, because I sure do.
The only thing you're asking is just that you get to meet with him. We are out of that.
Yeah, I'm
Right?
I'm
That's
just,
all
I'm appealing,
really
yeah, I'm
he's
appealing
asking
to,
him
yeah, I
is,
just
will
came,
you meet
with
with this lady?
right, and I just came to clear up the, the fiduciary situation, because, and what's gonna happen with that if Mr. Mauser doesn't do anything, because, like I say, it's been 3 years long. How much longer is this held up? Well, everything my dad has been stolen.
Well, you have the process now to
Yeah.
take it in.
Did I hear you say earlier that you did hire an attorney, but that didn't work out?
What
That's
happened
what
is,
it
a year and a
was.
half after this was all going on, nothing had happened. I got, they hired Criswell, some big firm out of Charleston, I don't know what it was, and I did hire an attorney, because I got a paper that said it was a summary of quiet title. It listed me as a defendant and Ruth Mitchell as a defendant, which I don't know why I keep getting listed as a defendant. And that's what I said in Judge Alsop's court. I said, I'm here, but I have nothing to defend. I don't know why my name's on this paper, except that I won't go along with it. But yes, I did come down, I saw that, I saw I had 2 weeks to get an attorney. I came down here, I went all over town, I went to people like Shelley D. Marino, who at the time I didn't understand, laughed in my face, laughed at me. I'm distressed, my father just died, laughed at me and says, oh, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. I went around to many different lawyers in a panic. I did finally find Mr. John Oshaway, who I did retain, partly in cash and partly in check when I went home. Well, turns out Mr. Oshaway did almost nothing for what I paid him. It started out that, first of all, he didn't even have correct in his ledger how much I had paid him, and denied I had paid him. So first step, I had to go home and go to the bank, have the bank print me out a copy and show Mr. Oshaway, yes, in fact, I did pay you that much. And he still wouldn't do anything. Anyway, a year and a half it took me with the Office of Disciplinary Counsel that they went through to intercede on my behalf, and he did have to pay me back that money. He did have to show much, he had to refund half of basically what I gave him. And he also got talked to because he was trying to charge me like $300 for work he did after I dismissed him. So then he was trying to charge those papers, so he got that back. So basically, he did nothing from me. I spent another year and a half of misery trying to get what he rightfully should have paid me, which he did now. But now everybody tells me, oh, go get a lawyer, go get a lawyer, go get a lawyer. Where? I'm not rich. Tell me, where am I going to get a lawyer that's going to touch this case? So I appear pro se and do the best I can for my dad. That's all I can do. So I appreciate your time and your help, and I hope I'll hear from you later.
Okay.
All right, thank you
You'll
very
hear
much.
one way or another.
Thank you
But
very
see,
much.
when her brothers came down, was harassing me, I had to call the police. They treated me like I was a piece of trash.
Well, the police
I mean,
will never
They
come.
treated me bad.
Because they say it's a civil
Especially Ben
matter.
Huffman. I mean, Ben Huffman,
All right.
he was rude, very.
I will just say, I have been there several times, and when this first went on in 2010, when we were actually having to have men guard us with guns, that's how bad it was. We did call the state police and the sheriff several times, and they did not respond. And I don't understand that. So, anyway, thank you for your time, I appreciate it, and I hope to hear back from you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Larry, don't you ever tell anybody heard me keep my mouth shut.
See you guys.
See ya.
Ready to.
Shall we do anything?
I'm sick of this.
All right. I'll probably go up to Roost, do you want to meet us up there?
Yeah.
Do you want to call it? All right. Unless you want to meet Stephanie.
Okay.
All right. I'll sit on. Oh, first.
Marley,
Sorry. Sorry. I got all nervous.
Marley.
Yes. I did.
Oh, 50. There's 30.
Oh, all right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Are these yours? Are these yours?
Some of the worst ones.
Yes, thank you.
No.
Yeah. You know what the deputies had? You want to get? like she said, something in that bill, which ways to break that thing.
How are you all?
Oh, we're good, how are you?
Good.
Matt has not made it yet.
Good.
He has most of our documents back.
Okay.
I don't know if he got stuck in meetings or.
Okay. Well, let's move down here and take some of this. Do you want us to go ahead and take care of a few other things, or do you all have something to present to us?
We wanted to touch base just to, let everyone know the committee's active again. We selected a chair and co-chair, as well as a secretary. There's a couple changes to the ordinance that we would like to make. Nothing really bad, just to add the language to match with, something from the city, as well as the names to be consistent to match with the code. And then some of the documentation that we submit to the landowners, or property owners. There's documentation we have to change as far as that, to reach out and try to get more cooperation with them versus a threatening letter right off the job. So, that's basically our purpose today. We are planning on meeting monthly, the second Wednesday now of every month at 9 a.m.
Okay.
Which will be open to the public. We had to change that because of some other conflicting schedules. This meeting is open to the public, so anyone that would wish to come, we would encourage that as well, so.
Would you all like to be put back on the agenda for the next meeting? Is it the 3rd?
December 3rd.
Yes.
We will be, do we go back on
Well, are you gonna have those, we need those.
that? We need that,
so
yes,
yeah.
from Matt, which he had, I haven't heard from him, I'm hoping everything's okay, because he was coming today.
Right.
And we've been working on the letters.
And could you state who the chair is of this committee?
My name, Tammy Stewart, I will be the chair. Jeff Campbell is the co-chair. Wilda Cole will be our secretary.
Okay.
Well, if you guys could, we'll put it back on the agenda, and if you could get us copies of the amendments.
Yes.
You have them.
To the
We,
ordinance.
yes, we do have one, but we don't have.
Well, as far as that goes, we would take them and review them anyway. We wouldn't take action.
Yeah, exactly. We could even get that information prior to the next.
That'd be great.
And that way you can
Then
have
we can
maybe a
act.
decision.
Yeah, if you could just give it to Cindy.
Okay, we
If
will.
he comes later today, you can just turn it
Drop
in.
them off, right?
Right. And we did approve, Mr. Seipel to be back on your committee.
Okay. So basically, we just need that amendment to include the city, the additional city representative, which would be Jeff, and then
Him from the county.
him from the county, so we have all those members.
Right.
We did want to change our name, which you could go back to the unsafe. Just a moment. And the reason why we did this is for consistency throughout the documentation and everything. Unsafe Building and Lands Enforcement Agency instead of just Gilmer County Enforcement Agency causes a little bit of confusion, I think, between all the members. So that's something we do want to be taken into consideration as well, because we will have to note it in the ordinance.
Okay. Well, if you guys will just get us copies of what you have, we will, we'll give it to somebody and let them review it and get taken care of one way or another. Get back with you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you guys, appreciate you.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Let's pay a few of those bills, Larry.
I think that.
10:15. It's out there and I'll check. So let's pack it down first.
Yeah, still, yeah, I didn't see him. I saw Lance. He was inside talking to John. I saw him.
I'm standing outside there.
Was your dad with you?
Yeah.
I saw your truck, but
Yeah.
somebody was.
Yeah. How are you today?
Okay, considering the temperature.
Yeah. Chair just keeps sinking.
Yes, I see it.
That surprised me. That's- well, that will repair. I anticipate something large. That's one you have to see.
Yeah, that's correct.
Two addresses. It's anybody that's just. I just remember. Management. Still there. Yeah. She tries. Yeah.
Anybody, is it?
No, there's not even a copy, but really you should have a copy of the card.
Yeah, I forgot that.
Not signed. There he is, and he's gonna step in.
Hey, Gary.
This chair, Larry.
Oh, sorry.
Have him wait on his number.
Can you come in, please?
You need signature for approval before we can pay.
Well, you have a line too.
Where you're gonna pay it from? What line of Casey?
Well, that'll come out of his uniform now.
Do you know the number there? That one was $1. Make a lot of money there, can't you? I also have one bill from the veterans for the other polls, and I forgot to bring that this morning. It's like $37
For the what?
for the polls for the Veterans Memorial. Bill Skinner didn't give me.
You can hear that have already been paid, but you.
Left it on my table at the house.
That's good news. That's good news.
Hey, Sam.
Yeah.
Steve, this today.
I love it.
Okay.
Order due.
I bet you
He's
did.
putting in the
I
record.
get used to it though.
Okay. Hey, can you?
Thank you, Larry. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
How are you, Gary?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Good.
Is this where that guy came and talked to us?
Yeah.
That was from the California.
Ah. I haven't even seen it.
It's just a police car.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Is it here? Is he driving it? I don't think it's here. Is it here?
Yeah.
Is he driving?
I don't know if they're actually driving her, but they brought it yesterday. I mean, it was sitting
Well, I
out there
just heard
yesterday.
yesterday, somebody down in Tanner area back on one of those highways, and said, here comes this big brand new sheriff's car. The baby that wants to go.
How are you?
Uh,
Where do I go for the
The family court.
Over in the annex building.
Who have those doors?
Okay, let's take a break from the bills a minute. Carl Shaw.
Was that all the bill?
Yeah.
That was all. Approve it.
I am Carl Shaw, I live in Calhoun County. Thank you very much for allowing me to come and speak to you. My favorite topic of conversation is the state of our economy and the property tax system and the relationship between the property tax system and the state of our economy. The first paragraph here, you can read as well as I can. We can skip to the second paragraph. What causes unemployment? We all need food, clothing, and shelter, and we're all able to build these things that we need. And we can build those things in this county or any other county that's got some level land and some natural resources. And people have a need for food, clothing, and shelter, but we've got unemployment. I wish our unemployment is here in Gilmer County. Calhoun County sometimes leads the state in unemployment. They used to always have a lot more than they have now. The younger people who couldn't find jobs have left the county. Since I retired here 30 years ago next week to Calhoun, the county's lost almost 1,200 population. So the young people leave, and the other people stay. They're probably on retirement, so like I am. Why do we have unemployment? We have these needs. We need a house to live in. We need food, and people are willing to work, but they're out of work. Why do we have unemployment? Have you thought about this? You must have some ideas about what causes all this economic distress.
No jobs.
Why are there no jobs? Or few jobs? What's the reason behind it?
You obviously know, Carl. Let us hear it.
The high price of land. People graduate from high school or college, they can't afford the land. So the land is now selling for about $1,100 in Calhoun, $1,100 an acre for tillable level land. Kids coming out of high school and college don't have $1,100. So they go elsewhere, North Carolina or somewhere else.
You think they can find cheaper land in North Carolina?
I don't know. That's what people, they used to act in Ohio, or Detroit. I'm from Detroit. Detroit, back in the 40s and 50s, was loaded with people from the South. My parents were from southern Ohio. They couldn't find jobs, so they went to Detroit. I don't know.
I don't know that I totally agree with you either on it being totally the price of land as much. Sometimes I think it's the availability of land. Because if you were a young family and had, both folks working in this county, and you thought you might want a 10-acre, 15-acre plot, well, they're not here. They're not for sale. They're not available.
But it's owned by somebody.
A lot of land.
Family, passed down generation to generation. A lot of that here.
How much of the land that's usable is actually being used?
Where are we going with this, Mr. Shaw?
I hope we're going to reform our property tax system so that we encourage people to use their land.
Okay.
You're saying families own 10 acres or more. How much of it are they using? They're not, I don't think our property tax system doesn't encourage highest and best use. A lot of this is mathematical data. I made a study with you last week about class 4 properties. commercial or vacant, class 4. That's currently taxed, about 28% of the rent is taxed, 28%. You should also tax the buildings, so that's the counterweight to the, if you tax the land high enough, people put it to highest and best use. But you tax the buildings also, so that counters the incentive to produce. Let's see down here, toward the bottom of page 2, to collect all the rent increase in tax rate, assessed value, times a new tax rate, I'm proposing, we'll have a new tax amount. Land value results from tax rent. If we tax all the income, $166.68, you get the point that this piece of property is sold for $5.25 instead of $1,000. When you tax the land, you drive the price down.
Why would we want to drive the price down on the land?
Because the creator made the land all this for free. We're not supposed to have to, we shouldn't have to buy the land. Native American, native to buy the land. At least 3 places in the Holy Bible says never sell their land because the land belongs to God. But we ignored that. The first settlers came from Europe, early 1600s to New England. They were used to buying and selling the land. They knew all about that. The king owned all the land, so they didn't own anything. So they brought their system over here, private ownership of the land. It didn't work in Europe, and it hasn't worked here either.
You own property, sir?
Yes,
How many acres do you have?
80, it's a land trust, it's in trust. I'll be leasing the land from people to encourage them to come and build a house and live on this land. It'll be non-profit. They'll pay whatever the rent, the land rent is every year. That'll help run the trust. I bought it for that purpose. George's principles. I'm a George's. Okay, George's principles, page 5. This applies to Calhoun County. About 4 inches from the top page, it says grand totals, 1950, class 2, 3, and 4. Calhoun County assessed land in 1950. It was worth $2,096,510. $2 million. By 2012, the same property in Calhoun County was worth $61 million. Land always goes up in value. Regardless of depressions and setbacks in the economy, land still goes up. It's going up now. In 2008 and 9, it leveled out for a while, but it's going back up again now. Land values always go up. That's one reason we should share this rent of land. I meant to talk to you about rent. Let's take a look at the Gilmer County land and tax issues again. Define rent, who makes rent, and who should collect the rent. What do you think of rent? What are your opinions about rent? What is it, who should own it?
I'm missing your point here. That,
Rent is the annual payment for the use of land. It's not a verb. Annual payment for use of land is called rent. It's highest in the cities, downtown cities. It's less out here. But whatever the rent is, it's created by all society. It's not created by the landowner. A good amount of Gilmer County land is owned by people who live in other states. They play no role in land valuation. They don't live here. The rent of land is a public product. And hey, let's go back to George's principles again, page 5. Jurisdictions which tax land higher, Fair Oak, Alabama, Hardin, Delaware, they tax all the rent of land. New Hampshire, Connecticut. New Hampshire taxes 40% of the rent of land. Connecticut has the high property tax, and Connecticut has the highest per capita income in the United States. Alberta, Canada taxes were high, they tax the rent high. Taiwan, Australia, New Zealand, and
Don't you think that property tax is relative to what people can afford to pay?
no. I don't think so. If they can't afford to pay it, they wouldn't assume the responsibility of buying the land.
Mr. Wilk, correct me if I'm wrong, but these percents are state who sets them for you.
We're mandated by law, state code law, 6%.
Right,
You can't go in and change that.
right.
That's what I was telling the gentleman the other day. His idea may be good, but it's irrelevant.
Right.
You know, we have to run
By
by
the
the
law.
state tax department
Yeah.
code of conduct. And we're in the reappraisal program now. And if I'm not, as far as my land tables, as far as value guide, farm use, if I don't meet that yearly, then we are wrote up to the proper valuation committee and have to explain why we're not there. You know,
Yes, I know.
30 years ago, when the assessor had more control of the county, may have been a thing, but not anymore, in my opinion.
Controlled.
Right. Because it's a mandate, we're followed so much and monitored so much now by the state tax department.
Right.
I recommend that you decrease the taxes on buildings, because buildings, they depreciate. Stick-built houses built to last 40 to 50 years. After 40, 50 years, it should come off the tax rolls. They're used up.
Mr. Shaw, do you have any idea of the financial state of the state of West Virginia?
How do you mean that?
I mean, do you have any idea of where we're at financially in the state of West Virginia and how much?
I think that the legislature has balanced the budget pretty well in the last few years.
Well, they're looking at a 7.5% cut across the board of balance this year. 6 to 7.5%. According to one of the senators here not so long ago.
You mean the state expenditures?
Yes. So, can you imagine the whirlwind, the downward spiral when you devalue these people's property and raise their property taxes? How on earth do we, how do you explain that to the citizens?
When we tax land, we're taxing the rent of land. The rent of land is a public product. We all make rent of land by being here, by buying and selling and working.
This is all well and good, and I don't want you to take this in the wrong way, but I mean, to a retired man who I'm sure you have what you need, that this is all great in theory, but what do you do for these young people that you're talking about that may have 50 acres that they want to borrow money against? We've got just a couple minutes left here. We have a 10:30 appointment. We have about a minute left.
On Georgia's principles, page 3, I have a paragraph about Southfield, Michigan. It was just like other cities. It became a city in 1960. It was a township prior to that. So they elected a new mayor. Jim Clarkson became mayor. He was at Georgia's. He hired a qualified appraiser, and he started taxing the land for all it could work, all it was worth, and he started depreciating buildings. In just a few years, population doubled, so much traffic went in Southfield. Interstate Highway Commission had to build a new highway into Southfield, Michigan.
My question would be, sir, have you presented this to the West Virginia legislature?
Yes.
Other people have.
And what was their comment on it?
Bob Kitts got the House of Delegates to approve it, but there's nobody speaking on behalf of the Senate, so it didn't go anywhere.
Okay, Mr. Shaw, we have a 10:30 appointment. Do you have anything to say in closing?
Two contrasting cities, take a look at that. Farrell compared to Grantsville, and the property taxes, it's in here, tax rates and per capita income. The 4 counties that tax land higher in the state have twice the per capita income as the counties that tax property tax a lot less. So you don't need to listen to Carol Shaw, just take a look at this. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, sir.
I just want to make a comment on the record. I don't have any problem with what Mr. Shaw was doing. I mean, he had an opinion, he expressed it, and you give him all the time to listen. But I was on subject when the Hope Inc. was here, and I had one-page information to read. You stopped me from doing it.
I don't think so, Dave. I told you.
Yeah, it's on the record.
Well,
You said this is not the place. You told me this is not the place for it, where I was on the subject, on the agenda, okay? And I had signed to make the comment, and I had one page, okay? You stopped me after the second line, you said this is not the place, and I was on subject. But here, you know, I mean, I'm not complaining why he got all the time. I'm complaining why you stopped me.
Okay, you're on the record.
Okay.
Greg?
Well, my name is Greg Cromer. I'm an aerial photographer.
Okay.
Past several years, I've been working on a project to photograph every town in West Virginia, and I wanted to show off the ones that affect the county here. And see if there may be any interest in a copy for the walls here. Terrible juggler, so forgive me.
I can't imagine Sandport Community Center wouldn't be interested in that one.
Yeah.
I met you on Main Street last week, I don't know.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
And one of the college here.
Okay. Now with the nuts and bolts of this presentation.
Did the city of Glenville buy?
I haven't caught with the mayor yet.
Okay.
He wasn't in the last couple of times I came through town, so he's my next stop. This size is 20 by 28, and I sold that for $150, framed as you see it. I have a larger 24 by 36 that I sell for $195, and then a couple smaller sizes down to a 16 by 20 for $95.
My opinion, you're gonna have to have the whole county. I mean, if we would buy one little picture, then we've eliminated Sam Fork, we've eliminated Normantown, we've eliminated Troy. I mean, that's.
Yeah, and I will
just
have
not
those next year, that's.
Of the
like I
whole
say,
county.
Every town,
Yeah.
whether it be incorporated or unincorporated,
Right,
is the
right.
intentions.
Right, would be my, I'm on board, but I mean, I think we'd be slightly others,
Sure.
just to pick.
Yeah, some of the other counties have bought, you know, all of them. Some of them have bought a big one of the capital, and then,
Right.
then the smaller ones of the unincorporated
Right.
towns. So, yeah, there's all sorts of deviations.
Right.
If there's.
They're very good quality picture. I mean,
Oh, thank you.
They're very.
Yeah, beautiful places.
Yes.
Larry?
That's why I asked it to be good for city council. They are the municipalities. I would
Mhm.
think that the municipalities of Sandport and the city of Glenville will want those because they are very fine pictures.
Certainly. Thank you.
I agree. I think your business is with the city,
Okay,
okay?
no worries. I'll leave my card if there's any time that you need aerial work of any property, whether it's under construction or for planning purposes, I can provide
Okay.
this. So,
Thank you, sir.
I'm going to give you a card.
Greg, where are you from?
Originally from Hagerstown, Maryland. I lived just outside of Winchester, Virginia, and my mom and my grandmother lived in the Eastern Panhandle, so all three states I consider to be home. So that is what I'm working on. Every town in those three states, and I've added Delaware and southern Pennsylvania. And when I was shooting the Ohio River towns, I shot into Ohio and Kentucky as well. So the collection is growing as we
What
go.
kind of a plane do you fly?
Well, started out in 1946 around Champ, old stick and rudder tail dragger. We upgraded to a Citabria, And then as the collection started really getting farther away from home, I just decided it was better. My kids went off to college, they weren't there to spot for me anymore. So now I just rent local planes and pilots. This particular flight, I flew out of Morgantown, I flew one, I flew with the Summersville Airport manager back in the spring. So it's just wherever it makes sense to do the job.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Chair, entertain a motion to approve the invoices for payment.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Wait just a minute. Receipt of letter from the West Virginia State Tax Department certifying Assessor Gary Wolf has complied with the assessor's additional duties delineated West Virginia Code 7-7-6A is entitled to additional compensation of $9,000.
So I'll stick right there in the letter.
Didn't we just do one of these not too long? And this was for what additional work? Oh, the last was the farm.
Farm. Yeah, the last one was the farm. This is all the other duties that he has to commit to the state.
The budget report didn't we send it? We got it pretty much
Every
every
year.
year now.
Okay.
Do you want the motion for that? Well, I mean, it's already budgeted. So, okay. Just FYI, gotcha.
Robert's Rules of Order and Sexual Harassment Workshop.
I was contacted by Dennis Fitzpatrick, the mayor of Monville, concerning Mr. John Sorrento that does training out of the state, West Virginia State Auditor's Office. I've heard Mr. Sorrento do presentations before, but Dennis is bringing him in. He's going to do a presentation at the college, 2 different workshops, free. One will be on sexual harassment, and the other one will be on the Robert's Rules of Orders. So it is free. It'll be on December 16th. The first session will be 10:30 to 11:30, and then the second will be 12:30 to 1:30. Lunch will be on your own. He contacted me because he thought that there might be employees or people here at the courthouse that would be interested in attending, and he would like for me to give him a head count by December 1st.
The first session is 11:30 to 12:30.
10:30 to 11:30, then 12:30
Okay.
to 1:30.
I got you.
So I need a head count. I'd like to see how and if you want me to proceed with this within the courthouse, contacting offices, if you want, if any of you want to go. I personally would like to attend. I think that it's necessary. I thought about bringing him in myself and doing some training right here within for our in-house employees. There are some audits that would require us to have these trainings.
It's a Saturday?
No.
It's a Monday, December 16th, correct?
Okay.
Monday.
I'm gonna have to get back to you soon. 16th December.
Something in December, but I'll go to both of those. You always pick up something. John Sorrenti's an excellent speaker.
Yes, very good for that.
He could talk about
It's got a world
grass
of
growing
information.
and make it interesting. Yeah.
My only concern is that's Christmas party season,
The first one's at 10:30 or 11:30,
10:30.
because this paper says 11.
So I don't want to assume, but that means one of the topics is the first session, the other topic is the second
That's
session.
right.
So, but they're both inside of a 2-hour
the whole
Period.
day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did I put the time wrong on the agenda?
It
Yeah.
says 11:30 on here to 12:30, session 1.
And 12:30 to 1:30. Right?
And I believe, I'll have to confirm this, it's 10:30 to 11:30, and then lunch on your own, and 12:30 to 1:30.
Okay, that'd be good.
I've got it
Count me
on
in.
my
So you're
calendar.
gonna plan to?
Plan.
Yeah.
Now, as far as disseminating this information throughout the courthouse employees, county employees, do you have direction, want me to just do whatever?
That would be up to the, we're not their boss. That would be up to their individual elected official.
Jean may have someone she wants to.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, I think there is some responsibility on the commission to have employees sit under some sexual harassment training. So I think it would be a good idea if we ever had a case come against us for someone claiming sexual harassment and we have not provided training, we're gonna be in a little more hot water.
But didn't you say you would talk to him possibly and have some training here?
I had thought about that, yeah, before this even came out.
Right.
When I last heard him speak, I thought that'd be really good to bring in here sometime, and, but, you know, I hadn't made the top of my priority list of things to do.
Once again, we may have some responsibility. We can't mandate their employees to go anywhere.
I don't see how you can't close the courthouse. That's a part of that policy that our you know, that we give them. That's identified in there and discussed, what they're supposed to do if they feel threatened or anything.
Nonetheless, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
And I think that probably we can get some participation from the other elected officials. But, I mean, it sounds to me like it's something that maybe, in the way you put it, that everybody should go through.
Well, everybody needs to have this training at some point. It doesn't necessarily have to be at this particular time. Perhaps we want to look at setting something up ourselves because there's so many.
Right.
But, so I think what I'm hearing you say maybe right now is get this information out to each elected
Elected
official
official.
and let them determine what they want
And
to
they can bring
You
it back.
might even, you know, if you go listen to him, there's no reason where you know, it might be tough to get John back down here. But if you were to present that, to do with, you know, pods do 4 or 5 at a time. It's hard to get all of them here.
I understand.
And I don't think after 4 o'clock, when they're off work, that you're going to get them all to stay here for a training. It would have to be during
Their work hours.
work hours, and catch them the time.
But I would check the legalities of that. You're not certified to do this kind of presentation for sexual harassment in the workplace. I would find out first, before I open my mouth to any of these people in here to say what sexually can and can't, and then you're gonna be the one, I
That's
learned it
addressed in
from.
their personnel policy. They've already been given something in writing.
Right.
Nonetheless, put me down to attend to it.
Okay, I'm gonna plan to attend myself, and I will send this out to each elected official, and just ask them to respond back to me by December 1st, if anybody from their office will be attending.
Receipt of Gilmer County Volunteer Fire Department bingo license.
FYI,
Okay. Develop and adopt commission procedures for soliciting RFPs and RFQs.
we've discussed that earlier.
Okay. State Supreme Court has requested a dedicated electrical outlet for their equipment, which is located in the courthouse basement.
They had some issues the last couple of weeks. The magistrate court has had a couple of issues with their state Supreme Court server, and then with some other, just power issues. They're not getting ample and consistent power supply over there. And it has to do with, they've had two people from their IT department, state Supreme Court has, downstairs looking at what's down there. We need another dedicated electrical line. We've got too much going through. So they're asking for their own line, and they will pay for it. The state Supreme Court will pay for it. So that's not a problem, and I will facilitate that. My question is, who do we look to do that? In the past, you know, Bob Reed has done a lot of the work. I don't know his physical condition right now, how much he's working. I'm not even sure how to contact him. So I'm looking for direction, not just on this project where we need something beyond what Troy can do, But, yeah, going forward, who do we contact? How do we approach when we have projects that need to be done beyond what our in-house capability is?
Well, as you know, we've used Bob's. It's a legitimate thought. I mean, he's getting older.
He's not performing as much work as he had been.
Yeah, right. As he told me the other day, it takes a lot of snow days. I think we ought to look to those that have helped us when we were in jams in the past. I mean, whoever those people may be, we need to look back and see. We probably ought to reach out to Bob and just have a conversation with him, see what the deal is. See what he's, what he wants to do.
How do we reach him?
I normally call his daughter.
Mhm.
Well, I called Sherry last week and left her a message asking, to let me know what his condition is. This is what we're looking at, to see where he is with stuff. I hadn't heard anything.
Have you tried his house number?
I have a house number, but you never
I'm
get
going to
it.
Audrey's for lunch.
I
I'll
was gonna
find
say,
it.
he said, Carol told me one time, if you need my dad, you go to Audrey's. Call Audrey's at 11:30.
I'm going there for lunch.
And then call the 33 for supper.
Okay, so we're gonna check with him first,
Yes.
and then if he is not able, second step will be, I said, look back to see who's helped us out in the past.
Yeah. Well, let's
And
get the first step out of the way here today.
you'll let me know.
I will.
If you see him this afternoon.
I will see him, I'll guarantee you. He's not hard to find at lunchtime.
I've got a question about that, it just bothered me. Not that it's not needed, but was that request in writing? First question. Second question, what initiated it? What was the state Supreme Court doing in the basement to even know that
Because
it
they-
wasn't on a dedicated line?
Because the Supreme Court site in the magistrate office went down. They monitor, they have IT people that monitor, and they know immediately when someone's system, anywhere in the state, is not functioning properly. And so they were not able to, one time they were not able to do their video recording, which sends everything back. And another time, they were not able to access their site. And the state Supreme Court picked that up and saw there was a break in the connection. And so they were actually on site 2 different times to see what the problem was, which tracks back down to the power supply in the basement. We have taken a measure for a temporary solution. We've unplugged some things and put them one place and put them over to a place where they should have a little bit better power supply, not have so many things running through the same electrical outlet, basically. But that's a temporary solution. And so the head of the IT department of the state Supreme Court called me and asked me if we could make arrangements to get that dedicated electrical line. There is one down there right now. It was put in for some other purpose down there. I think we got the phone systems maybe. There's been one run, but we needed a second one run. Just not enough power coming in the old basement.
Okay. Cindy, you have a proclamation for us?
We have here a proclamation from the governor's office. It has to do with next week, November 25th through 29th, being declared as Christian Heritage Week. Every governor, every year since Governor Gaston Caperton has declared this for the state of West Virginia. And they sent the proclamation to us. We'd like Gilmer County to proclaim it as well. Would you like to read it?
I believe the city already did
The
that.
city did.
Cam, would you like to read it?
Would you like me to read it? Proclamation by Governor Earl Ray Tomblin. Whereas the preamble to the Constitution of West Virginia declares, since through divine providence we enjoy the blessings of civil, political, and religious liberty, we, the people of West Virginia, reaffirm our faith in constant reliance upon God. And whereas the Bill of Rights to the Constitution of West Virginia guarantees religious freedom, and the Sundays accepted, in quotations, provision of Article 7, Chapter 14, historically recognizes Sunday as a day of rest and worship. And whereas for many West Virginians, public school days once began with a daily pledge of allegiance, prayer, and Bible reading. And whereas the state songs, the West Virginia Hills and the West Virginia My Home Sweet Home, contain the lyrics, in quotes, with their summits bathed in glory, like our Prince Emmanuel's land. And there I work and I play and I worship Sunday, end of quote. And whereas the influence of Christianity in West Virginia is evident by her many churches and Christian charities, ministries, missions, and schools, cherished Christmas, Easter, and Thanksgiving holiday seasons, and a willingness of mountaineers to love thy neighbor as thyself. And whereas Thanksgiving week is an appropriate time to center attention on our thanks to Almighty God for his great and good providence and for the Christian faith, which is part of West Virginia's and America's history. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Earl Ray Tumblin, Governor of the great state of West Virginia, do hereby proclaim November 24th through 30th, 2013 as Christian Heritage Week in the Mountain State and invite all citizens to join me in this observance. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the great seal of the state of West Virginia to be affixed. Done at the Capitol, City of Charleston, State of West Virginia, this 20th day of June in the year of our Lord 2013, and in 151st year of the state. Earl Ray Tomlin, Governor.
Move to adopt the governor's proclamation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval to pay Gilmer County Parks and Recreation's 2012 audit of $3,320.
Rita brought me the audit, said that in the past, the commission had agreed to pay this. She thought that you had mentioned it at one of their Parks and Recs board meetings, whenever the subject of needing to have an audit came up.
These state audits. It's expensive. But you gotta have it. Did we budget?
Just did. Turn that
It's
out.
in there.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Angel talked about it. She made that.
Cindy, I think, you check here, I think we're down to your administrator's report. Yeah, we are.
Just wanted you to know that we did receive $225 back from the County Commission Association of West Virginia, where we had submitted for one half of our dues that we paid to the National Association of Counties to be reimbursed as a benefit of belonging to the West Virginia Commission, or the County Commissioners Association. I submitted last week a grant for $27,750 to the West Virginia Technical Assistance Broadband Grant Program, which for a project I'm calling Online Public Access. And if we're awarded this grant money, we will use it to bring the assessor's tax records, land records, property information online, accessible to the public, as well as the sheriff's tax information, and in that the ability to pay property taxes online or in person with a debit or credit card. I wanted to update you on where we stand with looking into the legal advertising rates. And I've met with Mr. Corcoran a couple of times. I've talked with the head of the West Virginia Press Association. I reviewed the code, and I've talked with Jerry Huff also. And there's one piece of information still to be clarified. But up to this point, it appears that what Mr. Corcoran is charging for legal publications is within the code. I've asked them to work up our past legal advertisement, which we did on September 19th, where we had delinquent taxes, to take one page of that and work it up. There's a parameter of size that they can do. And they do a certain parameter within that range. And I just asked them if they would work it up using the smaller size within that parameter to determine if there's any difference in the bottom line pricing. I don't think there's gonna be a drastic difference, but I wanna see what the difference is. And once I see that, then I'll have my mind settled, that when we get these bills for publications, everything's good, that we're paying what we need to pay. They're charging what they're allowed to charge. So once they supply that final piece of information, and we see what that bottom line pricing is, we'll either be able to correct it or put it to rest.
Very good.
And then the bill for the boiler parts, we've already discussed that one earlier in the agenda.
Well, that bill we paid, that was for Steve, right?
Yes.
And that says Rich's bill.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that up. Yes, it is pertaining to a bill from Rich's Heating and Cooling. Whenever we first contacted them back in September to come and replace the burner tubes, which they indicated would need to be done before the heating season, they ordered those parts. $1,394 was the cost of the bill for those burner tubes. Their bill then to come in and do the whole thing was around $14,000. And they were only gonna fix it the same way they'd already fixed it 2 times previously. And anyway, the long and the short of it is, we, in the process of waiting for them to talk to technical support to figure out what they could do, and then finally coming back with us, fixing it the same way they've already done 2 times before, which is going to obviously create the same problem again. In the meantime, we talked to 2 other people and got bids from them, quotes from them, to come in and gave the work to Stephen Reynolds. He got in here, got it done. He had to end up getting the whole bottom assembly, which includes the burner tubes, as one piece.
Did we tell them to order the burner tubes? Rich's?
Did we tell them to order the burner tubes? Per se, probably not. But the assumption would have been, if we asked you to come and fix this, the assumption would be, if that's what you need, that's what they order.
So we have a whole new set of burner
You
tubes.
have a whole set of burner tubes that they will not take back.
With these
Price is how much?
$1,395.
Even that $1,300 and the $5,000 odd that we paid to get them repaired
Yes.
is far less than $14,000. I say pay them for the
And then you
burners.
have
We'll
those
have
tubes
them
for
and
spares.
we'll just have them for backup.
We don't know whether they'll work or not.
Oh, you think the burners, the part, it's not
It's
the
the
same
same
burner?
tubes, same
Should be the
tubes,
same.
same
It
tubes.
should be the same
Same tubes.
tubes,
How
but
would you
we,
know it's the same tubes?
The Steve Cottrell. He's got this, or Reynolds, whatever. Yeah, it's the same tubes. He just got them with the kit. When he got the thing, it came as a whole kit. Am I not correct?
yeah, it came as one
He couldn't
unit.
buy just this and then not the tubes with it.
Well,
So, he
And I
tried
was
not
just
to do
asking,
that.
I was just asking how you knew it was the same tube. But it sounds like we're responsible for them anyway. Hey, that's what I say.
Yeah.
Do we have it here? The bill?
Yeah, we have it here. Let me.
That's a good deal for all the same tubes.
Well, probably, we should never need them again.
Right.
We should never need them again.
Never so long time.
Sell it on eBay.
At least we won't have to wait a month for them to come in if we do need them.
Have an auction, run steps.
Because that is,
They'll bring big money.
that is the third set of burners. Those downstairs, that's the third set since 2008, correct?
That's correct.
I knew I had been here for 2.
And the originals.
They were gonna fix it the same way they fixed it before. But here's the bill.
Because we might need them to do something.
Well, and it's, we all know,
Yeah.
they put it on you when they come.
Oh, by the way, it wasn't 14,000 from them, it was 16,865.
And they didn't even project to do that airflow problem at the town. So,
I'm trying to see, looks like all I have is an email copy from her. Of the invoice.
That's really not an invoice. I think I would wait after seeing this.
Well, it could be put on the December.
Yeah. I don't, you, Cindy, I don't think we need to pay. That's not really.
It's not really, yeah, no, it's not really.
Other business?
yes, I entertain, Mr. President, to go into executive session, discuss a couple employee personnel issues.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.